Musick. I'm a registered psychologist, a certified sex therapist, and a registered yoga teacher, and I am in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. I'm here today to talk about one of my go-to tools that I use and talk with pretty much every one of my clients, and that is what's known as the Autonomic ladder or the Polyvagal ladder. So the ladder is a tool for some self-awareness, some mindfulness, and being able to kind of get a sense of where you are in terms of, am I regulated or am I not? If I'm not regulated, where am I? So that's a question that I will ask my clients to ask themselves is, where am I on my ladder? So if you can think about the ladder in three parts, the top, the middle, and the bottom. So top is your ventral, tied to this part of your brain. Middle is our sympathetic, tied to this part, the mid part of our brain. And at the bottom is dorsal, tied to this part of our brain. This is all in part modulated by our vagus nerve. So vagus, V-A-G-U-S, not like Las Vegas. And the vagus nerve is super important. It's responsible for, depending on who you ask, about 70 to 80% of the fight, flight, freeze functions of our nervous system. It innervates most of our organs. It's connected to a lot of our senses. It connects our gut to our brain. Super important. Our vagus nerve is there to help us respond to things, but it can be stronger or weaker depending on the amount of chronic stress that you've been dealing with. But the good, cool thing that is part of the vagus nerve is that we are able to actually strengthen and tone our vagus nerve. So it's not like a one and done and then you're stuck with what you're stuck with, right? So even if you have a legacy of, chronic stress or trauma or just a lot of things that have made your nervous system have to work really hard, there are ways to be able to heal your nervous system. So yay, that's great work to be able to do for yourself in service of your relationships and of your quality of life. So the ladder is a tool that you can use to help you to take care of your nervous system and also to be more aware of where you are in regards to how you're perceiving things, how you're expressing your emotions, how to be able to get your needs met, all of those kinds of things. So one thing I'm always talking to people about is that you are responsible for your own emotional regulation. So that's really important. You're not responsible for your partners. You're not responsible for your friends, for your parents, for anybody else. You're responsible for your own emotional regulation. Now, if you're a kid, you are responsible for your own emotional regulation as is accessible to you based on how old you are. And your parents can certainly help or hinder depending on how that's going. And certainly your emotional regulation will affect the people around you and theirs will affect you as well. So, you've heard the feeling, the idea that feelings are contagious, and that is true. Emotionally, energetically, you're going to pick up on people's emotions. If someone else is off, you might feel like you're off. But this is the thing too, is that we can't be in a spot where we're so easily sort of swayed by the dysregulation, say, of another person. And that's why, again, you knowing where you are is a really empowering tool. So at the top here, ventral vagal, you are regulated, safe and sound, right? Safe and social. We are engaged. This is where we're like ready to we're emotionally available. We can communicate. We're good. So that's kind of where we're at even keel and where we're going to be at our best. So it's a good place to make decisions, to communicate, solve problems, all that kind of stuff. Now, your body is going to sense something that doesn't feel great. So there's a trigger, a stressor, something's coming at you. And now you're going to move into fight flight. So that's sympathetic. So now you're moving from here to our midbrain. When that happens, now we have a whole cascade of things that happen in our body. So we've got, our pupils dilate, our breathing increases, our heart starts pounding, we might get hot, we might get tingly, our digestion stops, like all kinds of stuff, because we're like ready to go. So either we're going to run away or we're going to fight. And if we stay there too long, or it's one of those things where, again, we're in a situation where we cannot actually fight or flee out of a situation, then we shut down. So that's where we go all the way to the back, and that's our freeze, our dorsal vagal. So when we're there, this is like we're numb, we're shut down, we're dissociated, we're like checked out, we're like spacey, we're just like turtling up, right? So these are the things that we end up in terms of responses to stress, right? So when we're in the middle, we are more likely to perceive things as dangerous, even if they aren't. Even if nothing else has changed, our perceptions are going to be that things feel more threatening, things feel more personal, right? We feel defended, right? We feel attacked, right? So even if the whole situation is the exact same, our perceptions have now changed, right? And if we're down here all the way to the back, then it's even more like, it's like, I'm gonna die, like actually, right? So even if the situation around you is not actually, that's what's gonna happen, hopefully that's not the case you're in, but your system doesn't know that, right? So you're limited in your responses just based on the functions of your nervous system. So it's doing its best to support you with the information that it has, but it is limited in its ability to do so because it's survival. That's what it's trying to do. So when you know where you are on your ladder, you can go, okay, hang on a second. Right, so maybe what's happening for me right now is more based on where I'm at in my stress response, and I need to take a minute, figure out what I need to do, and then once I get back up to the front here to ventral, then I can communicate and solve the problem and figure out what's going on. So stay tuned for more videos about what to do when you're here and how to get back to the front again. Thanks so much.